I explained this build as I recorded it, and I kind of determined that doing that in real time takes a little bit too long. The build was about 25 minutes, so I just sped it up to 3x, and I'm going to explain what I did in a little voiceover in the recording software. So, uh, this service interchange is going to be focused on keeping the cost down, having smooth transitions, and doing minor details as fast as possible, so you're not, spending 3 hours on a minor interchange outside of your city that you'll only look at once and take pictures of once, screenshots, whatever. I'm using the continuous curve tool to determine kind of the starting angle for where the ramp's going to go, and then I'm smoothing out terrain uh, to get just a gradual transition from where the ramps are going to hook up to the highway. Um, with a simple diamond interchange, it doesn't really matter where the intersections are with the road that you're hooking the highway up to. You just need to make smooth transitions to the highway from those intersections. So I'm using just making sure the um, snapping is where I want it, given a little bit of space for 2 lanes so traffic can go in either way. And I'm going to use the traffic tool priorities just to set the priorities for that road. Um, just I'm just setting it to yield, and I noticed that my segments are a little bit small, so I delete those and redraw them, making sure that my continuous slope option is on. So now we have these larger segments right before the intersection, just to prevent any kind of issue that arises when your nodes are too close together. Not that traffic cares when to change lanes anymore, which is nice in and of itself, but it can still create problems, as per every 10th post on the subreddit. I won't get into that now, but anyways, you can see me just extending those ramps so they're closer to where they will hook up to the highway. Um, keeping the alignment as perfect as I can get it, using the right angles. Um, and then you want to use continuous uh, curve to just kind of figure out where your ramp is going to hook up to. I'm swishing my cursor around to show you where, and then I draw a ramp right across the highway just to cut the segments. This is what determines the length of the segments, and then you can upgrade that to 3-lane variant, and then go back and draw your ramp to hook up. The best way to do this is the complex curve, because you can determine where the control points are. So you just saw me use move it to move ramps. I like to avoid using move it as much as I can, so I'll use complex curve. You don't need to do that with the other curve, because it's convex and it can hook up to that highway just nicely. And then you can go through and detail the chevrons for merging if you want. I'm not going to do that. I'm kind of waiting for mods to get to that point and just make it a little easier to do that instead of manually using net lanes. Here I'm running into some issues with the terrain, so I'm just going to go ahead and kind of edit that entire highway situation much in the same way I did on the other side, but I'm going to use quays to kind of shift where that slope starts, and then I'm going to smooth the terrain out all around it. So now it's much more smooth. I notice that's kind of jagged in the middle, so I'm going to do a little bit of sloping between those two. I might change that later, I'm not sure yet. But now you can get your continuous curve and then hook it up. See how it's not aligning properly over here? Just means our intersection point needs to be changed a little bit. So we're going to use that continuous curve just to figure out where it will line up. Add a little bit more of that 3-lane segment, and then it still doesn't line up. We're going to do it backwards. And then upgrade to flip it over. And now we have a very smooth curve. You can see I was kind of explaining how I like to delete trees. Instead of doing it individually like you see many YouTubers do, I like to go to the tree controller and make sure that faster brush full strength option is on, and that way you can delete trees as fast as you want and not have to scrub super hard to delete them. I'm just gonna add in some more trees just to make the forest like a little bit more realistic. Then I'm gonna fix the terrain before I go too much further with the trees. Widening the ramps for either of the rural road as it meets the interchange. And then I'm going to pick my here I was explaining the what's called a cone of visibility. Some municipalities will prohibit any kind of planting or trees within that cone that I just drew, just to ensure that there's proper visibility for an intersection, so you don't have cars like having to inch their way out. I'm just double checking priorities because I had to redraw the segments, and then I'm going to go through and add some vegetation. I'm using a tropical brush that I made. It's just all the palm trees. So I'm just gonna slap them down as fast as possible. This is the quickest way to make a build a little easier on the eyes than just painting roads on terrain. And it fills things out in the cracks that show up. And then I'm just going to use a just the default bush brush. I know people like to sink their bushes into the ground just to get like sort of a grass thing. You can do that if you want. It takes a little more time. I don't know if you can set the brushes up to do that, but I'm just gonna take a eyedropper tool on the grass surface that I found earlier, and then I'm gonna do a rough surface as fast as possible underneath where the trees are, kind of splitting the transition so the trees are in and out of it. Just makes it look a little more natural. This is like the quickest, easiest way to make things a little more detailed. Make it look like you put a little bit of effort in. And you can go further, do transition areas. I'm only going to do a little bit just to show you how to do it. And that's pretty much it. It's a little bit of a time lapse at the end. Just kind of views towards the city, and hope you enjoyed.